Have you ever noticed how some people can walk into a room and instantly change its atmosphere? It's not about what they say, but what they do. In a world where words are cheap and actions speak volumes, we're about to dive into a story that might just change the way you think about leadership and success. Imagine a retail store on the brink of collapse. Sales are plummeting, morale is at an all-time low, and everyone's waiting for the axe to fall. Enter Charles, the new district manager. But here's the twist. He doesn't come in guns blazing with threats of layoffs or long-winded speeches about corporate strategies. Instead, he does something so simple, yet so powerful. It transforms the entire store in just 6 months. In the heart of a bustling city, nestled between towering skyscrapers and busy streets, sat a once thriving retail store now barely clinging to life. The employees dragged their feet to work each day, their faces etched with worry and resignation. They'd seen district managers come and go, each promising change, but delivering nothing but empty words and false hope. But Charles was different. From the moment he stepped through those sliding doors, something changed. There was no grand announcement, no company-wide email heralding his arrival. Instead, he quietly rolled up his sleeves and got to work. Day after day, Charles was there before the first employee arrived and stayed long after the last one left. He didn't hide away in an office, poring over spreadsheets and profit margins. No, Charles was on the floor, reorganizing shelves, helping customers find that perfect item, and training staff with a patience and kindness they'd never experienced before. At first, the employees were skeptical. They'd seen this song and dance before, a new manager trying to shake things up, only to disappear into the back office once the novelty wore off. But as days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, something extraordinary began to happen, not just in its appearance. Though the neatly organized shelves and welcoming displays were a sight to behold, the employees began to stand a little taller, smile a little brighter. They started taking pride in their work, not because they were told to, but because they were inspired to. Customers noticed the change too. Word spread about the store where staff genuinely cared, where shopping wasn't just a chore but an experience. Sales began to climb, slowly at first, then faster and faster, like a snowball rolling down a hill, gathering momentum with each passing day. 6 months after Charles arrived, the store was unrecognizable. Sales had tripled, shattering all previous records. But more importantly, the atmosphere had transformed. Laughter echoed through the aisles. Employees greeted each other and customers with genuine warmth, and a sense of purpose filled the air. And Charles, he never once took credit for the turnaround. When asked about his secret, he simply smiled and said, "I didn't do anything special. I just showed up every day and did the work that needed to be done." This story isn't just about retail, it's about life, about leadership, about the power of actions over words. In a world where everyone's shouting to be heard, Charles whispered with his actions and moved mountains. Think about it. How many times have we heard grand promises from leaders, politicians, or even friends, only to be left disappointed when those words evaporate into thin air? We're surrounded by noise. Social media posts, motivational speeches, mission statements plastered on office walls. But how often do we see those words translated into meaningful action? Charles understood a fundamental truth. What you do has far greater impact than what you say. He didn't need to make speeches about teamwork. He showed it by working alongside his employees. He didn't need to lecture about customer service. He demonstrated it with every interaction. He didn't need to preach about dedication. His daily presence spoke volumes. This principle applies to every aspect of our lives. In relationships, it's not the grand declarations of love that matter most, but the small, consistent acts of kindness and support. In personal growth, it's not the New Year's resolutions shouted from rooftops, but the quiet, daily habits that transform us. In our communities, it's not the loudest voices that create change, but the hands that show up day after day to do the work. Imagine if we all took a page from Charles's book. What if, instead of talking about our goals, we spent that energy working towards them? What if, instead of complaining about problems, we focused on finding and implementing solutions? What if we led by example, not by decree? The power of this approach lies in its simplicity and its authenticity. When our actions align with our words, we build trust. When we consistently show up and do the work, we inspire others. When we focus on making a difference rather than making a statement, we create lasting change. But let's be honest, it's not easy. It's far simpler to talk about change than to be the change. It requires courage to step out of our comfort zones, to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. It demands persistence to show up day after day, especially when results aren't immediate. It calls for humility to work quietly, without seeking praise or recognition. Yet, the rewards are immeasurable. Like the retail store in our story, our lives and the lives of those around us can be transformed. We can create ripple effects that extend far beyond our immediate circle, touching people and places we might never even see. So, what's your retail store? What area of your life or work could benefit from less talk and more action? Maybe it's a project you've been putting off, a relationship that needs nurturing, or a personal goal you've been dreaming about but not pursuing. Whatever it is, take a cue from Charles. Start small, be consistent, and let your actions speak louder than your words. Remember, true leadership, true change, true success, they all start with what we do, not what we say. In a world clamoring for attention, be the one who quietly gets things done. Be the one whose actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more. As we wrap up this story, I challenge you to reflect on your own life. Are your actions aligned with your words? Are you making the impact you want to make? If not, what's one small step you can take today to start closing that gap? The power to create change is in your hands, not in grand gestures or eloquent speeches, but in the small, consistent actions you take every day. Like Charles, you have the ability to transform your world, one action at a time. So, what will you do today? How will you let your actions speak louder than your words? The choice is yours, and the impact could be greater than you ever imagined. If this story has inspired you, don't just like and comment, though we'd love to hear your thoughts. More importantly, take action. Start that project, have that conversation, make that change. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being present and persistent. Until next time, keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep letting your actions speak louder than your words. The world is waiting for the change only you can bring.